Hello everyone, my name is Clyde, and this mythological unicorn thing is the Illinois, an American battleship with Iowa's hull and 203mm guns. You'll be able to unlock the Illinois in the Research Bureau for 51,000 research points very, very soon, because she's about to come out. Now, Illinois is a battleship that has cruiser guns, or maybe it's a cruiser that has a battleship hull. I think a lot of players are really excited about Illinois coming out because she's just so dang unique. And I'm kind of into weird ships. This ship is most certainly a weird ship, but is it a good weird ship? I mean, we've seen this sort of mismatched thing before. Both Graf's Bay and Sevastopol are cruisers that have either battle cruiser or battleship guns. And both of those ships are kind of the opposite of Illinois. They combine the maneuverability of a cruiser with the punching power of a battleship or a battle cruiser. And this makes them nimble and able to smash other cruisers, provided they're avoiding incoming fire from hostile battleships. Illinois, on the other hand, gets the maneuverability of a battleship and the punching power of a cruiser? Seems like maybe they got it backwards on this one. I mean, we've got the slow derpiness of a battleship, but with half-size guns. Will this work? That's what we're gonna find out in today's hot take. For each of my hot take videos, I take a look at the capabilities of the ship and I compare them against its peers, ships of the same tier and class. We rate each ship on a scale of 0 to 5, with 5 being the best, and at the end of each video, I share with you my build and tell you why I put the ship together that way. If it sounds simple enough, then that's great. Let's get to work. Illinois brings a pretty standard kit of consumables. She's got damage control party and repair party. Now, the repair party is not a super heal, but unlike most battleships at tier 9, which heal 14% of their total hit points with each charge, Illinois heals 18.5%, just like Iowa, which means every time you hit the T button, you're going to get back a few more hit points than most battleships would. Illinois has a nice multicolored camouflage here, so thank you WARGAMING for giving us more than one color on Illinois. I really like the color palette here. It's a slight variation on what we've come to expect from most American premium camos, and I think that looks really nice. She's got a big 65 up here on the bow, which I think looks cool. And then, like a lot of premium ships, it's got the name of the ship on the back. Now, while there is an alternate, if you've unlocked the second color for American battleships through whatever campaign that was, you can switch to this, but I feel like you lose some of the contrast, and that's really what makes that other camo really punch up and look so dang good. So for me, I've been running the standard one. Hopefully, you like one of these if you decide to add the Illinois to your port. As always, we're going to start off with our first topic, and that is the guns for Illinois. Now, a battleship that has cruiser guns is every bit as weird as it sounds. When I first got the ship, I tried to push up on islands. I thought I'll use my rapid-firing cruiser guns and my battleship tankiness to operate at a distance of 12 or 13 kilometers away from my enemies, and I found that that didn't really work for me. The ship just wasn't very survivable up there. More on this a little bit later. And despite the smaller caliber, the 180-degree turret rotation is a very battleship-like 30 seconds, which meant that small, fast-moving targets were sometimes rather difficult to deal with or to get on target. In my build, the main battery reloads in just under 8 seconds, and I'll share that build with you guys a little bit later in the video. It's also more accurate than most battleships, having been blessed by Chrysanthos with battlecruiser dispersion. She's got the improved AP ricochet angles that you find on the American heavy cruisers like Des Moines, which means that when your target is turning in front of you, you can swap to AP a little bit early, thanks to that fast reload, and you'll still get pens when your target is still holding a little bit of an angle against you. The HE does work well when slapping a destroyer that dares to get up close and in front of you, but honestly, in my experience, I found that the ship works best when you stand off at like 15 or 16 kilometers, maybe even a little bit more, and farm battleships and other large targets with HE. Making that switch in playstyle boosted my average damage by a factor of 2 almost immediately. Overall, the guns are really good, and I'm going to give them a 4 out of 5. On the topic survivability, Illinois is a bit light on hit points. She ranks 23rd out of all tier 9 battleships and shows up with 10,000 fewer hit points than both Iowa and Missouri. She's also an Iowa. Now, look, I love American battleships just as much as the next guy, but I think we can all agree that Iowa is not the tankiest battleship hull in the game. Now, thankfully, Iowas have a strong heal. We mentioned this earlier, and Illinois is no exception. So she can recover 18.5% of her health with each heal, which is just about 13,000 hit points, almost. Her base detection range is 15.9 kilometers, which is 0.2 kilometers worse than both Iowa and Missouri. As a battleship, she's just a bit frail, so I'm going to rank her a 2 out of 5. Illinois has very good AA. Her long-range DPS is about mid-pack when compared against other Tier 9 battleships, but her mid-range DPS is quite good, and at 4 kilometers, her medium-range AA damage has the longest range out of all Tier 9 battleships, tied with Delaware and Sun Yat-sen. Interesting that those are the 3 newest battleships in the game. Anyway, she's got pretty decent flak with the second best flak DPS among Tier 9 battleships, so I'm going to rate her AA at a 5. It's about as good as it gets. Yes, you're still going to get hit by aircraft. That's the way World of Warships works, but you're going to shoot down more planes with this battleship than with most. For anti-submarine warfare capability, the airstrikes that come with Illinois are almost identical to almost every single battleship at Tier 9, so she's going to get a 3 in this category. Let's talk maneuverability. Even though she shoots like a cruiser, Illinois drives like a battleship. I kept finding myself complaining that she wasn't nimble enough while being farmed down by cruisers or unable to escape the inevitable HE spam of gunboat destroyers. That said, Illinois is a battleship, and I was trying to hold her to cruiser maneuverability standards, and that simply wasn't fair. Among the 25 Tier 9 battleships, she's the 6th fastest, which is great, but her rudder shift and turning circle are bottom 3rd in that same list, which is not great. That meant that I found her most comfortable to be out and away from islands in open water, taking an almost Nevsky-like position while I farmed battleships and cruisers at range. Don't expect her to deftly evade incoming fire because Illinois is a very typical battleship when it comes to maneuverability. And that means I'm going to score her a 3 in this category. Is Illinois easy to play? Yeah, she actually is. Once you quit trying to treat her like a cruiser and accept the fact that she is actually a battleship, you'll take up a position behind a line of allied cruisers and destroyers, and she'll start to do really good work for you. Basically, there's no secret trick to playing Illinois. Thinking that you need to play her differently because of her guns is a total red herring. She plays like every other American battleship in the game. Now, some of you elder lords of close quarters combat will undoubtedly be able to play her up closer to the action than I did and more effectively, but most of us will do well to have a bit of range and a bit of open water around us, pushing in a little bit later in the battle when there aren't so many of those pesky red ships that are trying to kill us from various angles. Illinois is going to take home a 4 in the category of ease of play. Is Illinois fun to play? Yeah, I mean, she's all right. I think the novelty of the cruiser guns wears off after a little while, and then you're kind of just driving around a gigantic slow cruiser or a battleship that doesn't have the ability to citadel things at range. Once in a while, you'll get to surprise a DD or a cruiser that has no idea that you can reload in 7.9 seconds. But as the community becomes more familiar with the ship, that is going to be less and less common. She's not as stupid or meme-worthy as a Paolo Emilio or an Austin or a Colbert or something like that that's just kind of hilarious to play, but she's kind of neat. I'm going to give her a 3 in this category because she's fine. She's not a normal battleship. She's kind of fun. And honestly, if you just want to get a normal battleship, there's Ohio for that. Is Illinois a competitive, sweaty, Giga-Chadmo mega boat? I think Illinois can be fun in ranked, but I can't imagine she's going to be used in the highest levels of competitive play. She just simply doesn't have enough alpha damage, and she doesn't have the survivability that's required to hang in those kinds of environments. That said, follow your heart. Do not let old Uncle Clyde keep you from finding true clan battle happiness in your Illinois if they ever offer Tier 9 clan battles again. So I'm going to give her a 2 in the category of competitive. My 21-point commander build for the Illinois goes as follows. At one point, you really don't need things like gun feeder. I mean, you could go for incoming fire alert, but I decided to go with demolition expert here. Just boosts your fire chance by 1%. It actually puts you up to 15%. I could see choosing something else at one point, but I went with demo expert. Then I went with grease the gears to help rotate those turrets a little bit faster, brings them down under 30 seconds. Adrenaline rush to keep me shooting faster as I take damage. We've got emergency repair expert to make the ship more survivable. Concealment expert brings us down to 12.8 kilometers in detection range, and then fire prevention because sometimes you catch on fire in battleships. Now, they only gave me a 19-point commander to build this. If I was doing another 3 points, I'd go with basics of survivability. That's going to restore your modules 15% faster and reduce your fire and flood durations by 15% as well. For upgrades, I went with main armaments mod 1 in slot 1, pretty typical battleship pick. Same thing, pretty typical battleship pick for slot 2, damage control systems. I went with main battery mod 2 in slot 3. I think
think there's actually a few good picks here. I didn't find myself wanting for more range. The main battery shoots 18.5. Couple of times I wish I could have shot 20, but I did a lot of work in that 16-ish kilometer range. I think you could also go with AA guns mod if you really want to keep those airplanes off your back. And then, of course, you could go with that artillery plotting room if you wanted the range. I felt like the gun rotation was really valuable, though. I went with Damage Control System Modification 2 in slot 3. For me, that's the best pick here. Although Steering Gears Mod 1 could have been useful if you feel like you want to be dancing in and amongst torpedoes, I just tried to avoid them altogether. In slot 5, I went with Concealment Modification, which I think is the best pick for the ship. And then in slot 6, you could go with Artillery Room Plotting. I didn't find the dispersion to be so punitive that I needed to do that, so I stuck with the increased DPM of Main Battery Mod 3. So that's the hot take on Illinois. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. What do you guys think of this boat? Is it going to be popular or not? She costs 51,000 research points, which is cheaper than a lot of these ships in the Research Bureau, but she is only a tier 9. She's also a battleship. We know battleships tend to be very popular premium ships, but she's also got these weird cruiser guns. So does that mean that people won't want her? Does it make her more desirable? I'm really not sure. Are you going to add an Illinois to your port? I don't think Illinois will probably be my next boat, but I really, honestly, I'll tell you, I hated this boat at first. I played 3 or 4 battles and I thought it was a piece of trash. And then I figured out how to play it. I stepped back a little bit and started treating it like a battleship, and she started to pay dividends for me. So I don't think she's going to be the next boat I get from the Research Bureau, but I do think she's going to be in my port at some point in the future. I just got to grind a bunch more research points. Until we see you guys next time, why don't you consider hanging out with us over on Twitch? Come hang out on twitch.tv/ClydePlaysLive. We stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday mornings, and we would love to have you come join us over there for the live show. Maybe Twitch isn't your scene, but you do like the occasional Discord. Join us at my Discord. The link is down in the description. And don't forget to check out the link in the description that describes, or that shows a spreadsheet of all of the hot take videos we've ever done. And I'll put some scores of comparable ships up here on the screen right now, so you can see how Illinois ranks against other battleships that we've rated. Until we see you in our next video, guys, take it easy, take care, be cool, be nice, and we will see you in the future, captains. Goodbye. Been blessed by our boy Chrysantos with battlecruiser dispersion. Can't say our boy Chrysantos. Such a stupid joke. Be cool, man. Just be cool. Why just be cool? I hope Chrysantos never sees these.